Hey, we're going live.
Okay, we are live. Well, welcome everyone to another episode of our happy half hour here at Carolina Retirement Planners. I'm David Shakavich, the president of Carolina Retirement Planners and the founder, and with me is Sam Shakavich, Samantha, my daughter and partner in the business.
Hi.
Um, and as many of you know, for probably 2 years and 2 weeks now, we have come every Thursday at 4:30 to bring you a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of fun and some knowledge. We started during COVID when we all couldn't get together, and been so popular, we've kept going. Just to preview, this week we are going to talk about recessions. Are they real or are they a mirage? And it really gets kind of interesting when you start scraping the paint off recessions and understand how it works and who decides. And I think you'll enjoy that. But we always like to start with something fun. And our director of client fun is with us as always. And let's introduce Amy, who sits behind the scenes. And
Hello.
Hey, Amy.
Amy,
Hi.
what is our fun topic today to start off with? What kind of day is today?
It's National Hip Hop Day.
National Hip Hop Day.
Yeah, right. It's kind of funny because I'm like, let's see if I'll get anybody to reply with their favorite hip hop song. And
Yeah, I'll
they
ask people
did.
to, yeah, we ask people when in an email that goes out is tell us your favorite something or other. And today it's hip hop. I understand we had a lot of responses.
We did. I was shocked. I did not expect this to be a very popular topic, but we had quite a few. So I'll go run through them really quickly. The by far Ice Ice Baby by Vanilla Ice won. And when I say by far, it had
Classic.
it is classic. It had three votes. Another one that we had was Mama Said Knock You Out by LL Cool J. Christmas in Hollis by Run DMC. Can't Touch This by MC Hammer. Me, Myself, and I by De La Soul, and Ghetto Superstar by Praz.
I guess no one voted for In Heaven There Is No Beer, but then I guess it wasn't polkas, was it?
No, it
You
should be
know,
polkas. We should find a way to make that happen. Are there that many
yeah,
polkas people
our
know? I
favorite
mean,
polka
I
songs
was
and
impressed. I was like, oh, look at that. Look at these. So it was
Sold the
really cool.
Kishka. But anyhow,
Oh,
so
you're back
okay,
over here
so
now. Yeah, it's good.
interesting time, and
That's
and
all.
I hope everybody is drinking something. I, as usual, have herbal tea. Honestly, it's herbal tea because I
I
will
don't
give
know, Dad. That looks a little zingy for herbal tea.
Yeah, that's a
uh,
little suspect there.
close to red zinger here, but that's about it. It's got the what's the red stuff that makes it red? I can never remember the name.
Hibiscus.
Hibiscus. I actually have a blend made for me by McNulty's Tea Shop in New York. I send them my mix and they make it up for me and blend it. So, but trust me, don't feel bad for me. I will make up for it later this evening with something much more distilled and fermented. So
I'm drinking a wine from Aldi. Does that sound crazy?
What?
Yeah, and I don't hate it.
You
It's a
don't normally drink wine, correct?
No, I don't, but this is not awful. And it's only like 80 calories a serving, so it's really light, and I'm not mad at it. So
now, does it come in a can?
no, it comes in a box.
A box.
Yeah, so it's even fancier. I should have brought the box over. So no, it's in a box, and it's a peach Moscato, but it's not like sweet like you would think. So
Okay.
it's
Well,
actually
like they
not
say,
bad.
aged like a fine box of wine.
I mean, classy, I'm going all out over here. So hey.
Boxed wine and canned wine have come very far over the past few years.
It's really not awful. It's pretty good, honestly. Like I said, Moscato I was a little worried that it was gonna be sweet, but it's not.
Mhm.
Okay. Now let's get our and as usual, we have a number of people who have joined us. We like to say hi as much as we can. And Dan and Barb are here. Oh my gosh, they are in Elmira. They are back there in upstate New York. I hope you're getting cool weather up there, cooler than it is here. And Jay and Carter have also joined us here. And Patricia is with us. Lanny, another regular, good to see you. Teresa Majeski, how do you pronounce that one?
Teresa Maciejewski.
Yeah, another regular on our show. We know who she is. Patricia says Aldous has a great wine. Martha is here, and Barbara is here. Fred, another regular, good to see you. And dear Sandy is here. My own Sandy is here, so I better watch what I say.
Yeah.
Bart is here. Hey Bart, good to see you're here. I hope your mother and father can catch it too, and Phil. So, and what is our topic again, Sam?
Are we in a recession?
Yeah,
There's a lot of a lot of talk about being in a recession right now, and a lot of contention around the issue. So we thought we would dive into what is a recession and why there might be some contention about it today.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of questions about it. And boy, the press, the whole media loves to just wallow in this, and there's all kinds of stuff. Either one side is saying, well, this group caused it a recession. The other one says, no, we didn't. There is no recession. It goes back and forth. So I thought it'd be fun to understand what a recession is and how do they determine if there's a recession? Who's the arbitrator? Who actually says you're in a recession? And there is a group that does that. And that group is called the NBER. It's the National Bureau of Economic Research. And this is their headquarters, which I believe is in Boston. And they are a nonprofit, an American private nonprofit organization committed to undertaking and disseminating unbiased economic research among policymakers, business professionals, and the academic community. And so we actually have this private nonprofit that figures this out. Who knew? It gets even more interesting. I think it's worth going into a little, not to read all this, but just to use it. How did this thing get started? It is 102 years old. It started in 1920 when two people, one of whom was an executive at AT&T, a businessman, and one of it who was, near as I can tell, a socialist labor organizer with a PhD in economics. And they argued a lot, and they disagreed on probably everything, but they agreed, however, that there was not enough data to really discuss the issues. So they were responsible for founding this organization, and it has been going ever since. And it has a formal requirement that has existed for 102 years that said they can do research, but they can't make policy recommendations. So they're to deliver data to us, but they can't say this is good, bad, and so forth. So kind of interesting.
So they're here to present the data for other people to argue about.
Yeah, they let everybody else, and actually they've gone on. They've evolved, and there are now 1,600 researchers, mostly academics throughout the world. They have 1,200 studies a year and 125 meetings a year, and they are sponsored. And I thought it was interesting. They are sponsored. Here are nonprofits and government organizations. So the Bill and Melinda Gates, the National Science Foundation, the National Institute of Health. There's private companies, Johnson & Johnson, Exxon, Google, Fidelity, Vanguard, a whole bunch of companies are sponsoring it. And then even banks. You got the Bank of Canada, the Bank of Japan, the Bank of France, the Bank of England are all chipping money in for this public nonprofit to make their decision. A little bit of kind of interesting. But Sam, what is a recession?
So by their definition, a recession is a significant decline in economic activity that is spread across the economy and lasts for more than a few months.
Okay, that is kind of the given definition of now, why are they claiming we are in one now?
Because the economy contracted at an annual rate for 2 consecutive quarters. The GDP went down for 2 quarters,
That's
which
the gross domestic product, which is a fancy name for kind of all the output of all the things that are going on in the economy.
yes. So some people look at that and they say, oh, that means it's a recession. But the NBER, who somehow has established themselves as the authority on declaring a recession, they have not done that yet. And they do take more into account than just the contracting GDP.
And I got this right off the NBER's website. These are I think 8 things they actually count. They look at, and Fred means Federal Reserve of St. Louis puts out all this data. So they do the GDP, but they also do the gross domestic income, which is a measure of all the income coming in. And they've got personal income, non-farm payrolls, basically employment, personal consumption, how much we're spending, real manufacturing, household employment, and industrial production. These are the things. And it's kind of interesting when you look to see, well, which ones are up and which ones are down, but it's more than just this GDP, which many people consider the only one. And, oh, by the way, who actually makes the decisions? Well, there is a business cycle dating committee, and it is a group of 8 people who are basically professors at universities, economic professors, and they include like Stanford and MIT and Harvard and Princeton. And so this illustrious group are the ones that actually get to say we are in a recession or we aren't, based upon all this data they put together.
Or many times we were in a recession. During my research, to the chagrin of many different political parties, they take their time to put out their statement about whether we are in a recession or not. And oftentimes they won't even pronounce that we're in a that we were in a recession until after it's over, because they want to be very precise about the business cycle, about when it started and when it ended. And so we may not even get the declaration or, the pronouncement that it's happening until we're either well in it or it's over.
Yeah, you can't always get it for the 6 o'clock news,
Exactly. Because they're trying to do it for the sake of,
Now, this is also kind of a quote right out of them. It says the committee's view that while each of 3 criteria, the depth, how bad it is, the diffusion, how wide it is, and the duration, how long it is, need to be met individually to some degree, extreme conditions revealed by one criteria or the others can basically count more than others. And, in other words, if one of these is really bad, the others don't have to. What's a good example, Sam, of when we had a recession, even though depth, diffusion, and duration weren't all 3 met?
2020.
Yeah. How long did the 2020 recession last?
2 months.
2 months. So this saying that you got to go 2 quarters with a decreased GDP to be a recession is not is not enough to do it. In the case of that one, we had depth. It fell really far, and we had diffusion where it covered just about everything fell, but the duration was almost a blink. So they still counted it as a recession. Another interesting piece here. Historically, Sam, what have recessions done? You dug up all this data.
In 2008, the Great Recession lasted for 18 months. And as we just talked about, the 2020 for 2 months. But before that, on average, they lasted about 11 months. And since 1948, there have been 11 recessions. So on average, we have one about every 6 years.
So if you think about it, if we are in a recession and we would be 6 or 7 months in, and we typically they last an average of 11. So it's like getting close to the end, more than likely, you know?
And I did read that as time has gone on, they've become shorter and shorter in their duration, which I guess, maybe means that we're becoming more and more adept at controlling, policy.
Well, let's dig in a little. Pardon?
I said possibly.
Yeah, let's dig in a little deeper, and the engineer in me wants to look to say, how bad is it, or what's this numbers mean? And one of the things they look at is GDP and the gross domestic product, how much the economy is producing. And this is again from the Federal Reserve, St. Louis, and this here is 2008, and you remember we had a recession when everything crashed in 2008. Here's the one in 2020. And I want you to kind of look, I'm going to draw a line. What these little bars represent is the change from one month or one quarter to another in the gross domestic product. So if the next bar is higher, things got high, we had more. If it's lower, it went down. And what's interesting is this is 2020 here, but these four here are 2020. But if you look here in 2021, the last 3 quarters, look how high that is. That's off the charts. We've not had in decades had a change, a really good quarter like that ever. And the next 2 were also higher than it was forever. And then these last 2 here, in fact, I can kind of blow it up here. These down here, this is 2022, and this is 2021. You can see that, yeah, it dropped a little bit, but boy, it's almost like we had such a good year the year before in production that we kind of overdid it. And even now, a lot of the stores are saying, man, we got more stuff than we can sell. We're going to have to do sales. TVs right now are cheaper than they've been because they made more than they can sell. So is the decrease in output due to the fact that things are worse, or did we just kind of overdo it last year and we're kind of absorbing it, So that's another one. Another one that's kind of interesting is this, another Fed. And this is showing recessions versus unemployment. Now, I know many of you out there that are looking at this are probably retired, so unemployment is not as big a worry, but it's just sort of interesting. You see the gray bands are the recession. And after the recession, for instance, after the one in 2020, employment fell by 14%. After 2008, it fell by 6%. After 2001, it fell by 5%. After 1982, it fell by 10.8%. And after 1980, there's a little one here, it fell by -1%. So you can see
Wouldn't
usually
it be that unemployment went up?
unemployment went up. This is a measure of um, the number of people employed, I think, for each of these
Employment
years.
fell, unemployment went up.
Unemployment went up. In other words, employment dropped by 14%, dropped by 6, dropped by 5. I'm kind of bringing two databases together, but this is the number of this is the unemployment rate. So this is employment basically fell shortly after. So anyway, it does show that recessions bring on employments. This is the current picture blown up, and we are here, we are in this upward trend, and the question might be, are we going to fall rapidly because of this recession? But at the same time, like right now, there's more jobs than there are people to fill them. We are still like fully employed and begging for more people. So it's, again, are we going to really in a bad recession because with employment so strong? Hard to tell. It kind of makes you, if you were one of those 8 professors sitting there, you'd be scratching your head and looking at all this data. The other set, this is a set of charts, cute little charts. I got to thank Amy for finding it. This is from the Washington Post. And one of them is GDP. And you can see the way this chart works is this half here is the last 6 months last year, the end of last year, and this is the first half of this year. So they took the first 6 months of the recession and the 6 months before. And you see all these extra lines in here. Those are the last 6 recessions. So we can compare our recession to the last 6, and you can see, yeah, we did fall some, not as bad as many other ones, but we did fall some in the last 6 months, the gross domestic product. But then you got income, gross domestic income. Man, we're going gangbusters. We're still headed up. We're still bringing in lots of income. Personal income is how much money put in their pocket. And you can see in the last 6, it usually went up and then fell down. And we went up, and we're kind of just maybe even a little bit higher, but it's held up over the first 6 months of this maybe recession. And consumption, are people spending money? Man, they're still spending money, even though we are in this so-called may have a recession. And then remember, there were 8 of them. I got 7 of the 8. Employment, non-farm employees is employment. Man, we're still hiring like mad. Industrial production is still up. The only thing that has fallen is manufacturing, that may have contributed to some of those numbers. So are we in a recession? Is it really going to hurt us? Hard to know. I looked at a couple others. I looked at some recent Wall Street Journal articles on the auto industry, and Ford, they're saying our products are selling as quickly as we can make them. They can't make enough. GM is saying that the demand for new cars is the customers are out there for the vehicles they're buying, and all indicators is they're ready to buy. They're both had problems in that they haven't gotten parts and chips and all. And so a lot of people are sitting there waiting for their car, and they can't get it because they can't make them fast enough because of supply chain issues, which may have also helped contribute to this downturn. But boy, once they clear, there's a lot of indications that may come out. And I think the overall moral, if we will, is that I wouldn't worry too much about that we may all be standing in this soup line in the near future with this recession, if there is one. Things are generally looking pretty good. A lot of things are still very positive, and I don't know whether that board will declare the recession or not. So that's a quick look at the recession and trying to scrape and look a little deeper as to what they are and who determines it and all this stuff. So that's the piece here. Any thoughts, Sam? Amy?
Well, I think that
I thought it was interesting. Yeah.
I try
I
to
didn't
make it
realize
as
how
interesting
short,
as it can
honestly, I
be.
didn't realize how short recessions were. When you say recession, I'm thinking, oh, it's going to be years. So that was pretty interesting, that aspect.
Mhm,
2 months, boom, but they still declared it a recession.
mhm.
So,
Yeah, I think that they've got their work cut out for them in figuring this out. It's been really our current economic environment is definitely very interesting, especially reading about everything that the Fed's trying to do with inflation, because they keep talking about a soft landing. They're trying to raise interest rates to slow spending and slow the economy enough to slow inflation without creating a recession and affecting employment too much. So it's very interesting, this,
mm.
everything that's going on here.
And we have a few comments. I see Patrick says, hey, look at our market, look at our statements. They're way down. We're in a recession. Well, there's been times we've had bad markets when we weren't in a recession. So, and they're not using the S&P or anything in these decisions. They're using a different set of criteria. So I don't know what that means. And it seems Gene is here too. And who else? Hans, good to see you as well. And so anyhow, well, that's a few other things. So I'm glad. Hope this was gives you something to talk about your next cocktail party, or barbecue or whatever you go to this time of year. So you can ask them, do you know who determines if we have a recession or not? What was our fastest recession on record? And so that'll be interesting.
I thought it was very interesting. Yes. Do we want to talk about maybe the flash report that we have that Mary can send out to everybody if they're
Yeah,
interested in it?
we I don't know if anyone brought it to me.
Oh,
I haven't-
no.
I didn't think if you're watching this, Jessica, grab the report off the printer and bring it to me here. We
No.
always like to give something away here, and although we may not always be organized about it, but we always look for something pertinent to give away. And we have one today, and I heard her get up, so she's probably coming. You don't have to staple it. We'll just take it as it is. But people like to maybe want to read more. And so we have some more things there.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's called Will a Recession Rob Your Retirement? So if anybody's interested, I put it in the comments. Just send Mary an email and she'll get it out to everyone. So she's really good about that.
Yes.
Yes,
And
so-
the answer is that it is open for debate, and we have not been declared to be in a recession yet. And the committee may say later that we've been in a recession, but just the indicator of the two quarters of the GDP going down is not enough for us to declare it a recession. So
Yeah,
we're
so
still it's
they
enough.
massage 8 different things, and
It's enough to make us all nervous.
you don't need to go down, but at the
It
same
is,
time,
yeah.
2 quarters may not do it either, because so many other things were up. So I'm hoping that this one is kind of like we're just a little bit of a bounce, but who knows? So okay, well, what are we going to do? A drawing?
Oh,
We're getting close. Oh, we're at the top of the hour. We need
Yeah,
to do this.
we'll go ahead and do the drawing then. Each week we raffle off 2 bottles of wine delivered directly to your door from Fermental Bottle Shop. To enter, you just have to click that you are, if you're on Facebook, click that you are coming to the event. And if not, you're on our listserv. Each week we'll send you out an email letting you know what our topic is. Respond to that email. We'll get you in here again. And you share this with a friend. We'll get you in here again. So there's lots of ways to enter. And our winner this
Last one left.
week
Here's my drum roll.
is Chet C.
Yay.
So congratulations. Chet. You are our
Congratulations,
winner
Chet.
this week.
Yes,
He
congratulations.
usually doesn't say hi online, but I know he's here today, so
Yeah.
it's be good for you to enjoy the wine this
Yes.
week, this month. So
There you go. Congratulations. I did not finish my glass of wine, just like I won't finish a glass of beer. I try. It's just, I always say one day.
you can always pour it back in the box,
Can I though? I don't.
That's
A
not
little
how it
humor,
works.
a little
That's not
humor.
how it works. How it works.
I'm not sure about that. But that's funny if I could. So I'll just give it to Matt. Matt's like like, oh, here you go, babe. Here you go.
Okay. Well, again, you would
you.
like to get that report, let us know. And it's been a great week. We will see you here next Thursday. And I haven't figured out what next Thursday is going to be yet, We'll have to come up with a good one for next Thursday. If you have any suggestions, send them along, something you'd like to know more about. And with that, everybody have a great weekend and cheers.
Cheers. Bye, everyone. Take care. Have a great weekend.